bait everywhere. They're not nervous though. That's not a good sign. Yeah, that's something else, isn't it? Full moon yesterday. Yesterday also marks the beginning of the Dracnid meteor shower.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're going to be catching some crappie, hopefully, and then this evening, going to be going to a campground in New Jersey, southern New Jersey, in the Pine Barrens, to make a gourmet meal from the gut bucket. Then tomorrow, there's supposed to be thunderstorms, torrential downpours, which should inspire some mushrooms. So apparently there are mushrooms, if not all mushrooms, or mycelium, that react or respond to thunder. And it's said that the ancients would set up drum circles. Nomadic people would set up drum circles if they were going to be in a place for a minute. And it would inspire, the drum circle would inspire a flush of mushrooms, so they would be able to eat. And then they would carry some with them to spread the spores to other areas of the forest when it was time to move on. Pretty fascinating, huh? Yeah, wait till you hear about the draconids, though. Holy. So the Dracnid meteor stream emanates from a point in the sky that is occupied by the constellation of Draco, or the constellation of the dragon. So in 1871, I think it was October 9th, there were two fires that erupted simultaneously, it would seem. Manistee, and I think that is in Wisconsin, and Peshtigo. So there are written accounts of people that survived this event, and the letters all explain it to be extraordinarily unique. So Buddy was a farmer, and he owned many acres. He lived in a house adjacent to a barn. Again, this was in 1871, so fire was common. Forest fires were dealt with by patrolling the woods when they were around, and they were around. So Buddy made his rounds that morning, and nothing was out of the ordinary. You stomp out the coals that are on the ground and you move on, and you hold vigil overnight so someone stays awake. Well, these fires sparked off and moved with such a pace. Oh, wow, I just got whacked. Moved with such a pace that, I better check the bait here. He said it sounded like the approach of 100 locomotives. So the skies were full of ash at first, and then glowing ash, and then he described fire moving through the atmosphere, descending as if a great serpent onto his barn roof. The fire came from above and descended onto the roof. The two families had a meeting place just in case of such a disaster. So it was on a ridge, and on a ridge is not where you want to be if the fire's descending from the sky, right? So the account was Buddy was running to the ridge with his wife next to him, a child in hand, and his wife was carrying a newborn, and he was carrying a child. He's the only one that survived. He later stated that again, the fire descended from the heavens and engulfed, like incinerated, like a blowtorch. He didn't say blowtorch, I said that. On his wife, who was at an arm's length. Yeah, unbelievable. Buddy later said that when he was provided care, when he got to safety and you know, their version of a doctor's office, he was visited by an angelic individual, an angel. He was visited by an angel, and all of his pain was taken away, his physical pain anyway. So the next account, people thought it was the end of times, and many just got to their knees and prayed. The animals and people cohabitated the river. And so the accounts of the fire descending in specific locations, yeah, wow. The same thing happened. Buddy was, you know, like with his daughter, and the daughter was incinerated as he was holding her hand. The daughter was incinerated, not him. He suffered burns near his arm and hand, but that was it, right? There was an account of a fire truck? Yeah, fire truck with a wooden bumper. The wooden bumper was turned to charcoal. It was, turned to ash. Yet the paint on the fire truck was unharmed. Buddy's neighbor was having a garden party. The whole family and kids were all out having a picnic. Buddy was aware this fire was coming, so he went into his yard and dug a pit to house his jewels, his wealth. And he was scoffed at by the people in the adjacent yard. They didn't make it. He did. So why am I telling you about all this? And what does it have to do with what I was just saying with the Dracnid meteor stream? So the Dracnid meteor stream is are the remnants of a comet that passed by and fragmented. It's the tail of a comet. It's a cometary fragment called Giacobini-Zinner. Yeah. It was discovered in 1900 by Bini, and then again, I think a dozen years later by something Zinner. So the Cometary Research Group established that this comet is composed of ethane, methane, and aldehyde, three highly volatile substances. It is in the form of what is called a gas hydrate. So under the extremely low temperatures of space, it exists as a solid. These gases exist as a solid. So when these things punch through our atmosphere, we see them as meteors, as streaks of light at night, but they occur day and night, right? We just can't see them during the day because the sky is so bright. This is speculative, but there's those that think this tail composed of methane, ethane, and aldehyde, these fragments, if they come in at the proper angle, they won't get burned up by the atmosphere. If they come in on a shallow angle, the atmosphere will just wear them down, and the gas will be dissipated in the upper atmosphere. But if they punch straight through, then they could potentially land on the ground. Well, if they land on the ground and they're in solid form, but they're essentially gas at our atmospheric pressure and temperature, then they will gasify. Well, where does that gas go if there's no wind? It's gonna basically pool in low areas. Maybe there's a layer of wind above and dead still wind below. So then the moving air above is gonna whisk some away. And if it was ignited, it would appear as a dragon, a fire-breathing dragon streaking through the sky. Maybe that's what happened to Peshtigo and Manistee from Draco, the head of the dragon. Unbelievable.